Alright guys, what is going on? How you guys doing all on this Thursday evening? This is the Club of the Man 1993, and we are here live for my live review of this past week's episode of Monday Night Raw. It was not September, I say October now, it's gonna be gone before you know it too, like the rest of this whole freaking year. The October 3rd, 2022 edition for Raw, that took place in St. Paul, Minnesota. And it was indeed the go-home show for WWE's Extreme Rules 2022. I will be doing my preview and predictions tomorrow night, probably after SmackDown. It'll be SmackDown, then Extreme Rules predictions. I just want to wait and be safe to make sure there's no other matches get added. And of course, I probably could have done them sooner, but life caught up to me again this week, and I got tired. I was going to do this review Tuesday night, but I was sleepy when I got home from work, so I took a power nap. I didn't have time after that, unfortunately. So, unfortunately, I didn't get to do it till tonight. But we will be here live. This is not going to be rushed like my SmackDown review was this past Monday. I do apologize about that. But I am on a little bit of limited time. So I want to, be more efficient this time and make sure I do not miss anything. Such as, one thing I forgot to mention in my SmackDown review on Friday, in the Shotzi Blackheart and Bayley match, Shotzi's tank is back. And I wanted to mention this because I thought of, my good friend Rob Kenobi and how we have to make up random little things. But I just thought, when I saw that, it's Shotzi, everybody! Today's the day! Shotzi's coming out! The tank is back! And we are getting it rolling here, and the tank is back! The tank is back! Kind of like a parody of somewhat of in Finding Nemo, whenever the starfish woke up in the morning and they thought they were going to escape, and then the tank was clean. So, the tank is clean! The tank is back! I'm glad that they had brought back Shotzi Blackheart's tank. But that was SmackDown. Of course, I missed that, but I wanted to throw it in there real quick. Let's talk about this go-home edition of Raw. I'll be honest, Raw since Clash of the Castle has been more so. Before that, it was booming. It was very exciting. I feel like for most of the build Extreme Rules, it's been more so decent to solid. The whole excitement of Triple H taking over kind of wore off a little bit. Then it's okay, this is acceptable, but we got a little more work to do. Was not quite as groundbreaking. And then it was solid the past couple weeks. And this week, in my opinion, I thought was the best addition for Raw in the build to Extreme Rules. A good go-home show that did get me excited for Saturday's pay-per-view. Which, by the way, because of everything up in the air for me this weekend, I'm not sure when I'm going to get to watch Extreme Rules this weekend. But at some point, though, I will. And I will review Extreme Rules. But I'm definitely going to preview Extreme Rules tomorrow. I still got my AEW review to do. And I got my SmackDown review to do. And my Extreme Rules review to do. So, of course, we will see, what all goes there. But like I said, I overall really enjoyed Raw this week. I think it set up some interesting angles. It was a good way to hype up the show for Saturday. I had a great time with it, in my opinion. But let's check the live chat before we go forward. We got Tyler join us. So Tyler, he gave the show a D+. He was not happy with how they booked AJ Styles on this show. We'll talk about AJ Styles when we do get to the whole thing with the Judgment Day. And I want to address a little rumor I've heard regarding War Games. I'll talk about that though in a second. As usual, he wants the and of course they would split the world and tag titles. He wants that so bad. He wants Charlotte and Becky come back. He wants Ronda and Logan Paul fired. I like Ronda, but I'll be okay with him firing Logan Paul. Spud Patrick wrestling is way better than any horse face match. Oh man, Tyler, you're brutal hate for Ronda Rousey. It's all good, buddy. It's all cool. But yeah, let's roll in and talk about this show though, because again, I still am on a little bit of limited time, but I do want to at least get my points across there, because this was a decent talkable show. It was definitely a good show. I gave it a good grade. Tyler didn't like it because how they booked AJ, which I know how much of a diehard AJ Styles fan Tyler is. So, well-respected grade, Tyler. But I really enjoyed this. Let's talk about this. So, we opened up with the Judgment Day coming out. And, of course, Finn Balor will be in an I Quit match against Edge this coming Saturday at Extreme Rules. Finn talks about how Edge was medically forced to retire and fought back until he was able to come back. But you can only outrun fate for so long. And Judgment catches up to us all. At Extreme Rules, he's going to act as the cruel hand of fate that reminds Edge he doesn't belong anywhere near any ring he stands in. Damian Priest is excited to see Finn give Edge the beating so bad he has to verbally quit. And then he calls out AJ Styles and Rey Mysterio. And Finn Balor says he chose not to end AJ's career last week because he's his friend. And the olive branch is still extended for AJ to join the Judgment Day. But don't make him do bad things. As he keeps saying, don't make me do bad things. Just do what I say and everything will be fine. Don't make me do bad things, please. Of course, then leads to AJ Styles and Rey Mysterio coming out, and they lay out the Judgment Day before we get the match. Judgment Day's Damian Priest and Finn Balor wrestling AJ Styles and Rey Mysterio. By the way, also, there was, of course, a promo in this too where Dominic Mysterio was talking up about how he hates his father too. Tell you what, Dom's promo skills have been already improving a lot since he turned heel. So that was a little bit brutal there, but effective. And then the Judgment Day, AJ Styles and Rey Mysterio had a solid match. Of course, Dominic, though, was taunting his dad once again and to get an attack. And then, of course, Rhea Ripley, of all people again, laid out Rey. And then, of course, which led to Finn Balor to get, to be able to get the victory by pinning AJ Styles with the coup de grace. Then, after the match, AJ Styles then berates Rey Mysterio for not being there to save him, and he shoved him to the mat, teasing kind of a little bit of a heel turn for AJ Styles. And of course, Rey had enough. He walked out and he left the Judgment Day to beat down on AJ. And you, of course, hear Finn ranting about being his friend, and he punched him in the face. And basically, he's beat him down. And he goes, "You're making me do this to me. I'm your friend. I'm your friend. Quit making me do this to me." So I've had people asking me, and I keep saying, "Nah, I don't think so. Nah, I don't think so." But after this week and the story they're telling, I wonder if they may put AJ with the Judgment Day. It would still seem odd because, again, the thing with him and Edge was really seemed pointless now, unfortunately. And again, like I said, I was kind of over his last heel run. I wanted to see him be pushed as a babyface again. But then, of course, I saw this. And storytelling does, fit in with, AJ still kind of never got his revenge on Edge. Got his comeuppance on Edge, of course, because Edge beat him in every match that they had this year, whether it was one-on-one or in a tag team, in the tag team match at Hell in a Cell. Edge seemed to always beat AJ, so there's history there. And then, to be honest, even though AJ turned face, he really has not won any matches at all this year. Yes, he hasn't been used much lately, but he really hasn't won much lately. So why wouldn't they tease this frustration with him? So, even though I'm not 100% for it, I still think he doesn't need it, I can kind of see them throwing a curveball and having AJ Styles join the Judgment Day. It could be this Saturday. It could happen this Saturday, too. Because, spoiler alert, I kind of want to see Finn Balor win that I Quit match. Which we'll talk about that, of course, on Saturday. But I'm also hearing a lot of people saying it's rumored that the men's War Games match is going to be the Bloodline versus the Judgment Day. I would be for it, of course, if there was... The main problem I have with that, though, is the fact that they're both heels. Like, there really isn't, like... There isn't really, like, much of a dynamic to have people cheer for in that match. I mean, if it was a way to set up AJ Styles and Roman Reigns for a feud, because I've heard that they have AJ been working Roman on some house shows, and there's... So I'm wondering if it's going to lead to a match with AJ and Roman at the Royal Rumble. We should have gotten it sooner. But then again, they would both be heels. If AJ would turn heel and join the Judgment Day. It would just be very strange. The only way I think it could work... I keep thinking back to... Because I remember... Because I recently listened to several episodes of Talk is Jericho. And I listened to the one with Aaron Stevens, formerly known as Damian Sandow. And he mentioned one of his favorite matches, of course, was the 2013 Money in the Bank ladder match when he won the briefcase. Yes, he got wasted with it, but he pointed out that what he liked about that match was all 7 people in that match were heels. And the goal of the match was to get people to get behind Cody. So, I'm wondering if they can use the War Games match, even, of course, if it's heel versus heel, Judgment Day with AJ Styles versus the Bloodline. What if that is kind of like the moment where where the goal of the match is to get everybody to get behind Sami Zayn, and that leads to him getting some more, like, not a full babyface turn, but getting more of that momentum as the slow turn back to being the old Sami Zayn of old happens. That's what I think should happen if they do the Judgment Day with AJ Styles versus the Bloodline at War Games. Have Sami get the win and kind of like have it be the match where the goal behind the match is get everybody behind Sami. That's what I think they should do with it if they go that route. But, of course, we will see. As again, there are reasons for AJ Styles to join the Judgment Day. I can see why. I would rather see him be a babyface. But then again, Triple H is in charge now. Maybe AJ could, do a little better. Another thing, though, I thought of, though. What if this is a tease? Because this whole thing about, AJ not having any friends. What if they keep AJ as a babyface? Because I think they're free agents. I'm not 100% sure. What if they bring back Gallows and Anderson and reunite the OC? Ooh. I mean, again, like when they tried to do it in 2019, it didn't work because they were all washed up. But hey, they've been gone for over 2 years now. Why not give them another shot if they're up for it? That could be another thing that this could be leading to also. We'll see, though. But yes, we have that match. We then have Bobby Lashley being interviewed backstage, who's mentioning the importance of his legacy as United States champion, and mentioned how the title is not the title that makes the man makes the title. And his mentality doesn't change. He's beaten the best in this industry, and next he wants someone with the same hustle and desire he has. Who comes rolling up? Mustafa Ali, who says he's done waiting. He stepped up to the front of the line for an opportunity. And Lashley goes, if you keep fighting, you'll make sure you get the opportunity. But Ali's like, no, I want that now. And then Bobby's like, okay, let's go do that then. Before we did that, we had a backstage where Sammy is excited telling a story about a dog and a fire engine to Jimmy Uso. And of course, Solo Sikoa sitting there just taking it. And of course, Jay rolls up and, is not having it at all. And of course, he's like, there's nothing. We're here to handle business. And then Sammy agrees, and he, cool situation. And they go out, and they start like advertising that Roman Reigns is going to be appearing on the season premiere of Raw on Monday. And of course, they run to the Street Profits. They tell Sami Zayn to prepare to acknowledge their tribal. Sammy tells them to acknowledge a tribal chief, but then Ford's like, we don't do that. And you guys will own this arena. And the Bloodline needs to acknowledge D's. And then, of course, Dawkins cuts him off. And then Angelo Dawkins basically gets to a scuffle, and it ends up with him challenging Solo Sikoa to a match later on in the show. We then have Bobby Lashley and Mustafa Ali have a match, and I thought this was teasing one of them turning heel. I thought Bobby was going to be going heel again the way he was booked in this match, but I'm like, really? Like, it'd be a little... It's like they're teasing a lot of heel turns. They tease a couple heel turns, but it wasn't in the end because Bobby did try to show a sign of respect. But what I liked about this match was another thing I always think back to. Again, Talk is Jericho, for crying out loud. I've listened to how many episodes, and of course the one I also listened to that I really enjoyed listening to was the one with Mustafa Ali when he first moved over from 205 Live to SmackDown. And he was saying how Vince told him one thing he's really good at is, showing empathy. And he's really good at showing, like, that heart and, like, fight desire and whatnot. They had it in this match. Like, so many times where Bobby Lashley is, like, beat the crap out of him outside the ring and thought he had put him down. And he must have crawled back in, like, 3 or 4 times where it looked like he was doomed. And even when Lashley beat him with the Hurt Lock, he passed out. He didn't tap out. He didn't give up. And Lashley, of course, acknowledged that. Well, he was trying to on screen until something happened, but we did show a photo backstage where they did shake hands and whatnot, show a sign of respect, showing that, hey, you showed a lot of heart out there. So it was a match that did make Mustafa Ali look pretty good. I liked it. But before on screen when Lashley was able to do so, out of the blue, we have Seth freaking Rollins blindsiding Lashley, and then hits the curb stomp with Lashley's face goes face first into the U.S. title belt. And then he hits it on Mustafa Ali outside the ring. So, of course, the story is Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle have a no... they weren't allowed to touch each other, fight each other on this episode, or else their match was off on Saturday. But of course, Seth has to, one, test the waters, and two, he has to stomp somebody's head into the mat, or else it wouldn't be a Seth Rollins episode. Anyways, Rollins then was, dancing to his own music, and then he mentions how since we've disposed on Bobby Trashley, it's time for Monday Night Rollins to give himself a big introduction. We're talking about his match Extreme Rules, and we get a video package about the fight pit. But that's Saturday, and tonight he wants to call Matt Riddle out so he can get pissed off in person. Of course, Matt comes out, and they bicker, and then Seth reminds him the match is off, you make contact, and Seth Rollins, again, was just being that typical, Chris Jericho dick heel. Hit me in the head, Punk! Hit me in the head, Punk! Your father's a drunk, Punk! Your father's a drunk! He's like, come on, Matt, hit me. Come on, hit me. Hit me. Hit me, hit me. Like, he was dying to be hit by Matt Riddle. But Riddle says he's not just going to fight him and beat him. Saturday, he says he's going to kill him. I'm like, oh, shoot, Riddle. And then, and he mentions, because it was then announced, of course, early in the show that Daniel Cormier, UFC fighter, will be the special guest referee in this fight pit match. And Cormier will raise his hand in victory, and the fans will then sing for him instead of go, oh, it'll be, bro, which was a little goofy, of course. But of course, even though Cormier and Riddle come from the same world, he's a Seth Rollins. But then Cormier appeared on the screen and says he admits he's a Seth Rollins fan. He's going to make the right call. Rollins then picks a scab of Matt's family, though, and mocked him for not being able to see his kids anymore. And of course, Seth's trying to piss him off. Seth's begging him to hit him, and then Matt was like, "Nah, your breath stinks." And then he says, "By the way, Seth, when was the last time you held a title? The last time he challenged for a title, Roman Reigns choked his ass out, and he's never even main evented WrestleMania. But your wife Becky has." I mean, not as much of a burn as, that segment in Pittsburgh, of course. But, very nice there. But Riddle sees a trend. He comes up second to Roman, second to Becky, and then on Saturday, second to him. And then this is where Daniel Cormier appeared on the Tron, who says, "We've had to watch them whine, argue, complain for months, and we're tired of the foolishness. He introduces himself and says he and Riddle go way back. He respects that. And Seth knows he's always admired him, and he celebrated when he won his first world title, but he's fed up. He lives in the cage. He loves the cage. And there can't be any old referee, and that's why they call old DC to make sure it goes right. And I'll see them both in Philadelphia. And of course, Rollins storms out, and then Riddle just plays the crowd. Candice LeRae, of course, ran into Bianca Belair backstage and wished her luck in her match. Then Miz was on the phone with Maurice, and then Dexter Lumis was creeping on him again for whatever reason. Candice LeRae has a match with Dakota Kai. Decent match. Something I complained about though for a while is the fact that that Damage Control, especially the tag champs, have been losing a lot lately, which has bothered me a little bit. They won both times on this show. First starting here with Dakota Kai pinning Candice LeRae, which I'm fine. Candice LeRae does not need to be built based on a winning streak. So I was fine seeing that win happen there. Afterwards, we see Miz, after his interview, he must have been taken out by Dexter Lumis. He's laying on the road case, and then Johnny just pokes fun at him. And of course, Miz wakes up and clutches at Dexter Lumis, drawing of the two of them together, and he runs off. Still why Dexter Lumis is stalking the Miz, I have no idea. But next week, I think Miz's birthday, or Maurice's birthday, one of the two of them. So Dexter's probably going to crash that. And we're still not going to know why he's stalking the Miz. Who knows? Anyways, but we have Bayley being interviewed backstage, talks about how she's got weapons like Dakota Kai and Io Sky at her side for a reason. They had the contract signed later on the show. I also get a memoir graphic for Antonio Inoki. Then we got Johnny Gargano versus Otis. Solid match. Otis won. Again, same thing with Johnny. He doesn't need to be undefeated. He can take a loss here. It's fine. I've said it recently too. Alpha Academy should get a few. He deserves some victories here because again, despite of course the fact that they've been losing a lot of their matches, they've been very entertaining since Triple H took over. So I was fine with Otis getting the victory here. Of course, partially because Austin Theory blindsided Johnny with the briefcase. And of course, afterwards, the three heels beat down Johnny after the match. And then Braun Strowman runs down and makes the save. And then he has his match with Chad Gable. And surprisingly, it was not a squash match. Although I thought Braun sold a little too much for Chad, I thought it was solid. It was nice to see them giving Chad, like a strong showing against a monster. Braun, though, wins with the powerbomb. Braun, though, has been using Wardlow's powerbomb. So, a lot of people are saying that they're purposely booking Braun like Wardlow to give him a different direction. Maybe, who knows? Who knows anymore? I'm okay with how they booked Braun. I mean, even though I didn't like how they brought him back, but whatever. Bobby Lash is being checked on by medics following his attack on Seth Rollins, and he said he's going to finish Seth off next week with the title on the line. Which is then also very interesting because, it could impact, the match on Saturday. Seth Rollins is getting a title shot, but yet I kind of want to see Riddle win. But Rollins is getting a U.S. title shot on Raw on Monday. We'll talk about that in my Extreme Rules predictions. Corey Graves is inside the ring, getting ready to have the contract signed for the Raw Women's title match. Bayley and Bianca come out. Bayley asks if she feels safe. Basically, she's like, do you feel safe? Are you scared for Saturday with the ladder match? Which I'm thinking, okay, come on now. Like no offense, Bayley. You really think Bianca's afraid of you? You really think so? And Bianca was like, yeah, you keep running your mouth over and over again. And basically says, so, she's got that it must be very hard to see someone get everything she wants. And she wants to know why everything does not work for you, though, Bayley. It's because Bayley was pretending to be someone she's not. And this is the real, she says, I'm the real Bianca Belair. And this, of course, is the real, Bayley never evolved. She just became her. And now we've seen her true colors. Let me see here. But then, of course, after they signed the contract, Bayley's like, well, how are your girls doing, though? And then we see there's a backstage where Damage Control's Dakota Kai and Io Sky are beating down Asuka and Alexa Bliss. And it looks like they got the worst of Asuka and destroyed her knee with a chair. And Alexa Bliss fumes and then challenges Io Sky for a match tonight. Which, obviously, you knew by the time they announced that. I'm like, okay, that's going to be the main event, huh? And it was. We'll get to that at the end. We had Sol Sikoa and Angelo Dawkins have a match. Surprisingly, again, I've been very surprised that they've teased off and on. They kind of veered away from it a little bit since SummerSlam. They have teased off and on a possible breakup of the Street Profits. Even though I still think they should have at least one more reign before you split them up. Still think they could have dethroned the Usos this past summer, but now I'm setting my sights on seeing Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens be the ones to do that. They especially, you knew Montez Ford had a lot of singles potential. Angelo Dawkins surprisingly put on some pretty good singles performances, in my opinion. I thought this match with him and Solo was pretty good. Solo does get the win with his spinning solo Uranagi. I am intrigued by Solo. He's getting more aggressive, like pretty much what I thought he would be. So I'm cool with him so far. Again, I never saw any of his work at NXT, but so far, I like what we see. Austin Theory mentions how he's going to kick Johnny's ass next week, so we're getting the match next week on Raw with Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory. Then we have Edge cutting a promo. He said the veil of character has dropped, and he's been pretty transparent since he came back. When he was 37 years old, he was done and he had no choice. But he made a choice. And by the time he was 46, it was difficult and it's only gotten harder. He loves this, but what's become harder is that it's not just taking a toll on him, but his family. It's harder to hide it from the girls when they could hear him coming down the stairs like a symphony of bones cracking. But maybe more difficult is seeing the doubt and fear in Beth's eyes, and knowing that she thinks that there's no way he comes out of this in one piece. And maybe he's stubborn and selfish, but you need to succeed at his level in this business. He's got to give Judgment Day credit. They made it more difficult, which is true. They've definitely, again, before SummerSlam, I was still feeling like there was something missing from Judgment Day. They've definitely really, been in a nice groove lately, I feel like. No matter how many times he beats them, they get back up. And it's hard for him to put his pieces back together. He continues to blame himself if the Judgment Day even exists. And he knows what he has to do when his back's against the wall. He has to be a one-man gang, and there's no way he'll be made to say he quits. And then we have Alexa Bliss and Io Sky in the main event. Fine match. Afterwards, Damage Control beat down. Of course, Bianca was out there on Alexa's side. Asuka came out trying to get involved, but it was no use. Damage Control beat them down. And then, of course, they pulled in a ladder, and the three of them stood on a ladder holding their titles as the belts go up as the show goes off the air. That was Raw. I liked it. I liked, the stuff with Judgment Day. I really liked the match with Bobby Lashley and Mustafa Ali. They made him look good. Liked the stuff they did with Seth and Riddle. The women was fine. It wasn't blowing me out of the water, but I thought it was good for what it needed to be. Yeah, I got no complaints. Even the stuff with Alpha Academy was fine too, as I said too. But we're gonna read stuff in the live chat. Then I gotta get off in like 5 minutes. Let me see what we got here. Tyler said, or Steak beat up the Knights is way better than any horse face matches. AJ should face Roman at WrestleMania, which wouldn't be a bad match, to be honest. I still want to see that match happen again. Seth should be world champion, but don't book it like 2019. Definitely not. Can WWE just drop the freaking name off of Seth Rollins' name? Yes, just call him Seth Rollins, not Seth freaking Rollins. It's just a nickname. He doesn't actually have to have it as his actual name. We got Timothy Williams. What's up? Thanks for joining us, Timothy. Bianca's still not ready for the spot, he feels. Is Big Boy Braun on Raw? Is he on SmackDown? He's been heavily featured on SmackDown lately, but here's the thing also. Since there's rumors that there's going to be no draft until after WrestleMania this year, why are we still having the guys who are the people who they brought back still kind of like not have an official brand? I don't get that. Edge and Finn should be the Extreme Rules match, and Bayley and Bianca should be the I Quit match. Edge should not turn heel this year. I don't think Edge should turn heel ever again, to be honest. It's too boring with Roman being champion. End this reign, no pun intended. I still think they should have done it at Clash of the Castle. Very big missed opportunity there. But yeah, that's Raw. I'm gonna cut it here. I don't know, because I do have a couple shows I watch Thursday nights now. New shows. I don't know if I'll get to watch any. If I'll get to review Dynamite, because we got some stuff to talk about with Dynamite, because I'm trying to get the full story about the latest drama that's going on. It's just pissing me off even more. So I may not get to it tonight. If I don't, I will have to do that before I watch SmackDown tomorrow. Then I'll have to review SmackDown after SmackDown, and then do my Extreme Rules preview predictions. So it's going to be a busy couple nights. Hopefully a couple more video game Let's Play uploads coming as well tonight, maybe. I might have done edited, so we will see. So yeah, that's going to do it, guys. Again, I gave Raw a B. That was a good go-home show. And set some things up, for down the line. And of course, get a pretty stacked card for next Monday's episode. We do have the reunion of, so we do have the 25th anniversary of DX. Of course, the big thing is will Billy Gunn be allowed to show up? And of course, if he does, well, either way, if he does or not, we might get a Scissor Me Daddy segment in there. A Scissor Me Daddy chant, oh, Scissor Me Daddy, which was a pretty awesome segment on Dynamite last night. My fiance even loved it. Well, she's making the Scissor Me Daddy jokes and whatnot ever since, but, But that's going to do it, guys. I want to get off here right now. So, guys, once again, a B for Raw. What are your thoughts on Raw for this past week? What are your thoughts, of course, on the build to Extreme Rules? And I'll also ask this question. What match do you think will be the main event of Extreme Rules on Saturday? Make sure to leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And be sure as always to slap a like on the video, subscribe for more content on my channel, and follow me on Twitter as well at DemandAirboy93. Until then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll catch y'all later. Have a great rest of your Thursday evening, and peace out, everybody.
Yeah, I know I will survive. There's no escape.